Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the player ranked #1 in the world by Dark and the red, the final boss. It's Dark. Up against the best Protoss player out there in the blue, we have MaxPax, a best of 5 Protoss versus Zerg showdown between Dark's barely controlled chaos and MaxPax's pixel-perfect Protoss precision. I just have one more thing to hopefully add before we get started, and that is you smashing the like button and maybe even subscribing to help counter the algorithm. And Jimmy, what are we at? Oh, happy Valentine's Day. Oh, not to the family. Let's not be ridiculous. 1,544 likes on this video, on this cast, and I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways. I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. As Dark sneaks some Zerglings across the map. MaxPax with a Stargate halfway done. The Adept is going to the north side. Dark is sending the Lings to the south. And will there be a second Adept done? No, he's sending it out immediately, because of course he is. MaxPax wants to keep as much pressure on as possible. But Dark will not miss an opportunity to sneak in and make your day a little bit more complicated. And that's a very nice way of putting it. The Zerglings just walk right in, and the probes will respond immediately. Unlikely they'll get any kills, but just generally messing with the early game. Now, MaxPax's not missing a beat. He's already keeping the pressure on with the Adepts. And having that shade ability to get away. Well, one of the Queens able to take out the Adepts. It looks like the Zerglings were taken out by the probes. No probes taken down, and he didn't actually scout the main base or the Stargate. Now, it's kind of implied. It's almost certain that a Stargate is on the way, and likely an Oracle as well. Occasionally Void Rays nowadays, but Oracle, by and large, the choice. And now Dark will learn that in the most dramatic fashion. Burns away energy recharge to load up the Oracle with a lot more dangerous energy, and heads across the map to do whatever he can to both scout and annoy the Zerg, and ideally get some advantages from it. That's part of the reason why blocking the Hatchery, where the Queens are currently driving away the Oracle, is such an important part of the early game, and why so many players will attempt it. Because if they're able to expand in a more linear fashion, it's very likely there'll be creep. There's not going to be as many opportunities to catch drones transferring, to catch areas where Queens don't have creep. So, in general, sending the probe out early to block the base ends up being worth it in the long run against most players, if you're able to take advantage of it. If you're a player who's less likely to be 100% on top of the Oracles and the Adepts, you're probably not going to see as much value unless the Zerg just gets tilted and falls off the table or tries to flip it. But in this case, so far, MaxPax just using it to keep Dark at bay, keep tabs on everything. There's no Queen in the main, so he just lights up the Oracle, gonna try to pick off a couple more, but only finds one. And the Queens, there's no Spore Crawler at the third base at all. So, but the Queens on both sides, politely, well, not so politely, yet firmly, driving away the Oracles. But MaxPax, this is all just a delaying action, as he's got Blink and +1. He's already got 2 gates, adding 4 more robotics facility. So clearly angling towards that Blink pressure. And we'll see if Dark ends up flinching. But he's already got plenty of Zerglings. The Blink start, there's nothing here. Where's the shield battery? The Adept out of position. And Dark just gets in and starts ripping apart the probes. Oracle, now recharged, has the energy, but the Zerglings run through, take a few probes with them, and run right back out. Only 2 probes, despite the danger of that situation. He's going to come back in again, but look at the positioning of MaxPax's pylon. Well, it's good, but hey, he only gets 1 more probe. So for all those Zerglings, couple dozen, and look at Dark's, well, he just built around the drones, but not really getting a huge economic advantage, though MaxPax handling that about as calmly and as conservatively as possible. Really, he couldn't have done less and still defended it. 1 Adept, 1 Oracle, that warps in a couple units. But Dark, not going to be able to intimidate him off that base. Actually using Overlord creep drop, and not for some sort of crazy all-in, but just to extend the creep out further. It literally just takes pressing the button in order to let those overlords drop their creep like, well, like it's Valentine's Day, I guess. But though, of course, an overlord out in the middle of the field is intensely vulnerable to stalkers, especially with blink and +1. Though that extra bit of creep, he's gonna have the vision here. The overlord gliding away. Will draw a couple hits, gets taken out. MaxPax some clean blinks back. Oh, and gets caught by the stasis. Meanwhile, Blink Stalker still fighting against the Queen. Hydra's first one taken out. And every unit counts in these exchanges. Both players piling in with continued reinforcements. There's one more stasis. I don't think Dark spotted it, otherwise he would have split off a Ling for sure. And this is Dark's 4th base. It's very important for him to keep a hold of, but it isn't the end of the game if he loses it, assuming he still has an army. MaxPax, though, has a 4th base on the way as well. He's already building Colossi, which are uniquely suited to incinerating this Hydra Ling composition. If Dark is going to stay focused on this very mid-game oriented army, the Colossi are going to find more and more value, right up until a hive is finished for Vipers. One of those stalkers caught in a prison of the Stasis Ward's design. The Zerg rocks in the center have bled out. He's actually holding on to the Colossi, though I don't know if the Overlord has spotted it. Wow, MaxPax firing over the top of the Zerglings, picking off some of the Hydras, and still getting away with the help of the Stasis Wards. Not intimidated by the Zerg at all, just really managing it. Feels like the damage control here is just incredible. And just as the Hydras close in, well, there's something bigger to deal with. A Colossus is trundling forward, and the thermal lances might not yet be fully extended, but mine is getting there. So now the hive is halfway done. Roaches and Hydras on the way. Roaches already added in, I think, that Dark expected something along these lines. He's starting to add in more roaches instead of going just Hydra Ling. He may have spotted it with the Overlord, actually. The Colossus was sitting over there for a minute or two, so adding the roaches in to mitigate the damage while still having enough to put out in front. The Roach Hydra trying to break through the rocks, but in comes MaxPax again. Triggers a stasis. The Queen's trying to help out. Oh, more stasis on the back line. He doesn't really suspect it. Another chunk of the army is taken out of the field. Not killed off, but creates an awkward scenario in about 30 seconds when it comes out of stasis. Meanwhile, some charge lots cutting through into the 3rd. Already getting a lot of damage done, both killing the drones and drawing a lot of the armor out of the way. Another stasis taken out before it can complete. The Oracles maintain their position. Dark, his supply, he has a lead. 2 Vipers on the way, but MaxPax actually has more workers. Going up to 10 gateways. The battle continues. +2 ground weapons about to complete. Dark isn't far off it either. Another Colossus comes up. The thermal lances are extended. Maximum range there. You can actually see the color change on the Colossi. They now have a reddish as opposed to an orangish thermal lance because, I don't know, space magic. Meanwhile, Colossi still burning through. Dark caught between a rock and a hard place, and their Queens are removed from the field. Dark currently has 0 Queens, which is not very many. It's just mass roaches, as the Hydras are becoming less and less of an option. He has enough energy, gets one abduct, yanks it, get over here. Will soften things up. MaxPax goes all the way forward to try to pick off the Viper, and misses the mark. He doesn't kill it. And he loses some extra stalkers, so that one Viper just abducted the entire attack out of it. Something profound. Anyways, consuming the hatchery. That's maybe not here. So what I've learned is a lot of pro Zergs actually click on the minimap to consume. You can click on the minimap to consume, and what is the biggest building on the minimap you can reliably click on? I don't think that's what was happening there, but the habit is pretty common. That's stasis. Oh, and the feedbacks. He gets one of the Vipers on the way, though, before the review comes through. And the Roach Hydra still chewing through. The Colossus forced to trundle back. Storm is not completed. The Templar have energy. Charge lots dive or drive away the Roaches towards the north side. But MaxPax is forced to give up his Nexus. And Dark, with relative ease, dismantling that unit composition. He wants to kill the Nexus. He gets out of there. Both players just abandoning it before it's actually dead. But the engagement kind of heats up again. Massive warping into the main. MaxPax comes around with the Immortals and Charge Lots and then an Archon as well. down the center will be driven away. The main base, though, the charge lots are slicing through the drones yet again. Currently Dark at 61 drones, whereas MaxPax has 69 workers, giving him a nice lead going into the later game. A mothership is in production, but Dark is at 200 supply. He's got the Vipers. He just knocked out the 4th base. If he can take the other base, but he eats a storm. Many of the Hydras brutally softened up, and most of them killed by the secondary storm. Hydra Lunge comes through, but another storm drives him away from the 3rd. And MaxPax is starting to falter. The storms aren't enough to stop the tide of Zerg from coming across the map. And 185 to 140 supply is the current count. But +3 ground weapons. Another storm. The probes are transferring through the Roach Hydra. MaxPax down to 54. Whereas the continued mid-game aggression from Dark is putting on so much pressure. Oh, the Vipers. Awkward. Is he gonna have to do it again? Okay. Yeah, we got him. War Prism taken out. The mothership, though. How many Overseers? Just one. Just one Overseer. The mothership itself, with cloaking, could turn this entire game around. As Dark, definitely not suspecting it. The fleet beacon was built before I even noticed, which isn't necessarily a massive accomplishment, but the mothership is about to arrive. The Overseer is coming with the army. Another stasis storms off to the right flank. Dodges back. Immortal yanked out. But the mothership! Oh, blinding cloud on the ground. If you can't see, neither can I. But the Overseer is so important right now. Sieges it up. There's a Colossus. More Templar coming down. Nexus falls. Storms across the bow. Roach is at the front. Lunges back. +3 attack is done. Meanwhile, some charge lots found 13 drone kills on the other side. So much with so little. Dark is just going for the throne right now, trying to kill MaxPax outright. The mothership is actually adding a ton of damage at the moment. Has he used Time Warp? Yes, in that last fight. But the charge lots killed 15 drones. And Dark, it looks so good. It's 120 to 112 supply in favor of the Danish Protoss. He's turned it around. Dark went too far. He dug too deep, and he dug too greedily. The gold base was nearly cleared out by the charge lots. Dark is forced to rebuild drones. Not something you want to be doing when this high-tech Protoss army is bearing down on you. While the supplies may be kind of similar, MaxPax's army is almost twice the minerals and over twice the Vespene gas value. Alright, that's just a high-quality army against the dregs of Zerg. MaxPax has held on. He held on to that core of his army and his 3 bases, and Dark just... he neglected the defenses at home. He had nothing at home to defend. Maybe a queen. He's back up to 3 of them, but not for long, as the charge lots will... oh, my Brenda! I know. The charge lots are chasing down a small group of Roach Hydra. And the army is halfway across the map, an awkward situation, as the mothership is leading, though the zealots are getting so much damage done. Some stalkers are on the other side of the mineral line. 14 more drones dead. Devastating damage as Dark, he's won so many battles, but he's losing the war. Again, MaxPax has managed to almost surgically dismantle the economy as the charge lots slice through, and somehow he's being chased down by one very brave stalker. Templar going to be taken out a moment before it could be recharged. The army's still scattered throughout the field. A bit of a hectic scenario. Meanwhile, it lunges out of the Time Warp. But that army, Immortals, Archons, there's still a Colossus. That Colossus has 29 kills. The mothership is at 8. I'm sure they're scattered throughout, but Dark's still finding damage in multiple bases. He took out another 4th, forces a recall to the 3rd. And again, despite the damage, Dark is now up 60 supply. This is madness. I said that with unconfidence because it feels like MaxPax has been doing exactly what he needed, but now Dark just has a way. He finds a way. He finds a path. Come on, get faster! Why do you guys run so fast? Wait a second, who is this guy? Ah! Dark gonna go for the full surround. MaxPax, the army supplies are still quite close. And with Templar, oh, a mass recall. The mothership brings another chunk of the army, and Dark going for the full base trade. Meanwhile, MaxPax spots it. Huge storms. But there's nothing at the natural, not even a wall. He's gonna warp in some of the zealots. How long on recall? Still a full minute. So we're in a full, well, I was gonna say base trade, but it really doesn't feel it, as MaxPax is coming back home to defend. Dark, 129 supply. He's building 2 expansions. MaxPax will clean this army up. Does that mean he can just turn it around and go across the map? Dark is playing like he has twice the economy, but he barely has 10 more workers. I think only because he just took out some more probes. Dark is actually behind on supply. He just keeps throwing away hydras and roaches like lings. It's kept max. Wow. Huh. Dark just taps out. He realizes he's bleeding out at home and there's no way he survives. Wow. His army jumping off a cliff against MaxPax's efficiency. And he just taps out. Game 1 goes to MaxPax. The mothership holding it together. Dark clearly not confident in his ability to defend with the same army. He did not succeed on attack. Maybe a little early, but having less supply than a mothership immortal Templar army with just Roach Hydra, well, that does not bode well. So, Game 2, ley lines. It looked so close right up until it didn't. It feels like, with that sort of composition especially, you're racing against the clock. You have a very limited time. Not very limited, but a limited time until the Protoss army gets too strong. You don't have lurkers. You don't have broodlords. You don't even have upgraded zerglings. So the Roach Hydra has an expiration date. And as soon as they have more supply with a better army, it feels like the army has already expired. And that is why Dark decides, all right, let's just move on. Because he shot his shot. And honestly, where are you going? Where's the drone going? Well, here it is. Is he just gonna scout? Or is he going to expand to both hatcheries? Off we go then. Dark decides he's going to take MaxPax's base. This is what we're doing here today. And so it begins. A zealot. So there's a probe on the other side. He sees that Dark just started his spawning pool. He's going to see the gas as well. But this means Dark literally can't have anything else but the hatchery. It's just a placeholder, but it's holding a very inconvenient place. So, we'll see how many probes, if any, MaxPax brings down to defend. Fun fact, it's about 7 probes in order to stop the hatchery before it finishes. If you have a zealot, usually it's a zealot and 3 or 4 probes, depending on how quickly you want to kill it. Ideally, you just make it cancel, because you've already committed to the follow-up, like 2 adepts at a time in this case. Getting some intense deja vu from Dark proxy hatching. Well, just list off all the Protoss. Not the first time this has happened, and it won't be the last. Well, hopefully. That's it, finish. The queen is on the way. And Zerglings pop out, making things a little awkward. With the queen coming out. Oh, gets on top of it. Turns it around. And double shade into the main. Sees the Zerglings. MaxPax on top of everything. Queen. Going for the creep tumor. And she'll get it. Well, if the Adepts don't go for it. So, with her dying breath, manages to get the creep tumor, and it will... Oh, well, that's sad. All right. Well, just like all of us, everything we've ever created will eventually be removed and lost to the sands of time. Even lost to the Units Lost tab. And that is life. Who doesn't play anymore for many reasons, but... Well, that was, Well, Dark is in a very awkward spot now. As 22 drones. MaxPax does not have an expansion. So, now what? The Zerglings get into the main. The Oracle, not going to be activated, but there's nothing in the wall until a moment before the Zerglings get back. So, a very awkward start. Dark now just droning up. He does have 2 hatcheries. He has a couple queens. Oracle recharged, heading out. Will MaxPax send all the... He's going to leave 1 at home, tucked all the way in. The attention to detail, I always appreciate. And the Shady Bunch is heading out. Has to keep some pressure on Dark, so that way he doesn't explode in the drone count with 2 bases to just 1. Especially considering there were already queens completed. The Adepts. No other tech on the way yet. We're all just focused on this early mid-game. The Oracles will light up. The Queen's not quite in range. But Susan moved forward. The Oracles. How many times? Well, Adepts get into the main, but I think the Zerglings will clean them up with ease. And now, Dark in a pretty comfortable position. Commits a little further to killing a couple more drones. But, well, Dark doesn't have a 3rd base yet. So, where does this leave us? MaxPax starts charge. Has a robo on the way, so clearly intent on following this up aggressively. Whereas Dark is just now getting a 30. He hasn't added a roach one. He hasn't added a lair. He's clearing up the creep tumors on his own. The Zerglings are trying to push their way past the Stalker, but the Oracle comes back and very much discourages it. Roach 1 now on the way. Dark starting to get suspicious. This is one of those games where it's very hard to gauge where the other player is exactly. MaxPax has the advantage there because Oracles can just fly in, fly out, slap down the Revelation. All Dark knows is that MaxPax hasn't taken a 3rd, which doesn't give him much information in general. He knows he may have to build units, but which units and when is a very big question. Because if you make a bunch of roaches, and for some reason... Wait, did he see the robo? He saw the robo on the way. So that narrows it down a bit. It's unlikely to be like a mass void ray or some sort of Stargate play. But, he's just building some roaches. You can hedge your bets by trying to come up with a timing of your own. As well. Of course, that runs the same risk as the previous game, where eventually you get held and don't have the tech either. Archon drop will be the choice from MaxPax. Pretty smart move. It covers both defense and offense quite well, and has a lot of potential to do damage if Dark has overdrawn. What up? Smattering of Protoss here. We got 3 Oracles, a Warp Prism, 2 Archons. Stasis triggered. The Queen's building up. Dark sneaking up towards 60 drones, whereas MaxPax continues building up on his side of things. About to finish the 3rd Nexus as well. Very important in the grand scheme of things, especially considering Dark does not have a 4th. The Queens come back. And the Zerglings? Brenda, you remember when we used to be able to fly like that? Susan, we've been over this so many times, and I wish you would stop bringing it up. It's not gonna happen. Do you know who's in the Balance Council nowadays? They're crazy, okay? I don't know what we're supposed to do. Not only can we not fly, but we cost 25 more minerals. How is this supposed to help? Yeah, but the hatchery, that's nothing. I don't think you need to raise your voice. Who else is going to, Susan? Who else? Sorry, I am blacked out for a moment. Well, next thing you know, they're gonna raise the price of injecting eggs. They said they'd lower it. What happened? Sorry, MaxPax defends back at home. The Roach Ravager coming together, but once Protoss already has plenty of Immortals and Archons, well, Roach Ravager might have the biomass. Yeah, this is another... It's like a circus troupe of Protoss. We have 2 Immortals, the Noah's Ark build, give or take, multiple Oracles, Warp Prism, 2 Sentries, Archons, Immortals piloted, charge lots in front, more charge lots behind. Breaks down the force field, and Dark gonna try to hold on to his 4th base while simultaneously being chopped up at his natural. The Archons are busting through, and there's a couple stasis wards behind as well. Corrosive bows scattered throughout. The Archons are just chewing through the roaches. The Immortals blasting. The Archon count is thinning, but they should be able to take out the base. And now the Oracles activate after killing off the last Queen. Burning through some of the drones. And yet again, MaxPax finds a successful engagement. Dark is not out of it. He still has the supply. He's got Roach Hydra Zergling. But MaxPax is already working on Storm, which is the one thing he needed in order to actually deal with this army. The big danger is if the Zerg gets a critical mass of Roach Hydra, then no sort of conventional units are going to work out. You need splash damage, and Archons are not really it. But with Storm already completing and Dark knocked back down to 3 bases, with no 4th base in the near future, no Hive, no Lurker Den, no okay, it's easier to list what he had. He has Roach Hydras and Zerglings. Certainly not a good spot for the final boss. Missile attacks level 2 completed. We're getting to the point, probably the best case scenario for Dark, unless this game goes much longer. $120 to 84 army supply in favor of Dark. The Hydra's slithering across. They've got their double upgrades. MaxPax has Templar, Immortals, and Archon set up to defend. Amazing storms to start things off. Dark splits back though, mitigates it. Hydra still chewing through, ping cushioning the Zealots. More reinforcements have to come in. Another attack to the north. Stopped by the stasis, and the Immortal count is growing. He hasn't been able to take out, I don't think, any of them this game. Not a single Immortal has died, so truly living up to their names. But one gets caught out. I've ruined it. Taken down. Meanwhile, a couple charge lots back at home will even out any sort of damage Dark is able to do on the probe line. Taken out with ease. So far, Dark unable to make any headway against the, Thought he was going to make a shrine to Dark there in the middle of his 4th base, which would be very odd. But an infestation been on the way, but Dark has not been able to get over 70 drones. So playing this sort of attrition-based unit composition works all well and good if you have more economy to work with. That's just simply not the case. Infestation pit's done. Dark's best chance is sneak to hive, and well, he's going for lurkers this time around. Stasis catches a precarious chunk of Hydra. So many of them that MaxPax will have to consider killing them later. Like, so much of the army is caught, it becomes a liability. But we have a fleet beacon on the way in the production tab as well, but that's not relevant to the main attack, with the Hydras coming in from the north side, eating another wave of storms. Backs off to the right flank. The Hydras come in, pick off a couple, but feels like every time any probes die, you can just assume there's zealots heading across the map to get some damage, and indeed there are. 8 zealots sent out. Just cutting up. Ow, wow. Dicing the Zerglings. The Hydras are a bit tougher, but still get some damage done. He even targets down the hurt one. The charge lot run by is dragging the army of Dark back. And now MaxPax able to move out. He's got those 4 bases. They're tied at 70 workers. MaxPax has taken a supply lead. 174 to 169. Just not very nice for Dark in this scenario with this sort of unit composition. He starts Hydra Lunge, Lurker range, and +3 ranged attack. Will that be enough to drive back this army? He has to get the Lurkers first. That's step 1. And there's a lot more steps in the process. Dark not yet investing in the Lurkers. The main army down the center. Revelation storms on both flanks. Zealots just drawing some of the Hydras out of position, making it that much easier for the Immortal and Archons to make their way up to the high ground. Hydra's trying to close in. There's always another storm. The Immortals blasting through. Dark able to pick off some of the Archons. The Templar. There's 2 more storms ready. Make that 1. And the Immortals are forced back. Almost looking like he wants to recall here. Another Templar comes up. Where does he keep getting these Templar with energy from? Meanwhile, the Queens taking quite a pounding from the Immortals, but actually pick off one of the Oracles and then get caught in stasis for better or worse. And now the Hydras, there's not enough energy on that Templar. It's about 10 seconds out, and this is the Hydra's opportunity. But at the same time as he finds success here, the Zealots cut through the 2 outlying bases, and Dark's economy is shattered. Yes, the Immortals and the Archons will be chased down, but the reinforcements have been eviscerated. The stasis catches the Hydras. So, oh my. Dark is able to take 1 step forward, but he's prevented from taking any steps back. As the Zealots have gutted the economy, they've cut off the reinforcements and cut up the reinforcements. They've cut down a hatchery. Altogether, a bit of an awkward game, but a decisive one for MaxPax. I don't see any light at the end of this tunnel, which may favor Dark, thematically, but practically, he's got a few Lurkers. There's about to be a mothership completed, maybe a GG mothership. The Immortals, the entire army is Immortal, Templar, Oracle. He's got 1 Archon in tow. It's just such a perfect army. That Lurker gets annihilated. The Zealots cut through, and Dark unable to keep up with MaxPax across the board. He's behind him, workers behind an army supply. I think he's waited to see. There's a small chance MaxPax will run into a bunch of Lurkers, and Dark may have a chance at turning it around. But that chance is vanishingly small. 9 more Lurkers on the way, just as MaxPax starts Tempest production. Mothership has arrived. And the existence of a mothership is not necessarily the GG moment. It's the fact he has a fleet beacon completed. And therefore, it's only going to get worse. Mothership GG! Well, I didn't think it'd be that decisive, but Dark, I think, waiting for the excuse at that point. Clearly trending in a less than ideal direction, and that just seals the deal. MaxPax up 2-0, and so far it hasn't looked particularly close. As we go into Neon Violet Square, one of our fanciest of maps. By fanciest, I mean most macro-oriented, at the very least. The old/new school map, where most of our long and arduous and exciting macro games are held nowadays, is Dark's last chance to turn this around. So far, it feels like Hydras or die trying. And we've chosen the second one, more often than not. The gold base! Alright, Dark found a gold base. And that means he's taking it. Well, is this where I almost forgot there's a gold base on this map because it's kind of impractical, but he goes down and he takes the gold. Will MaxPax scout this in any... Well, MaxPax isn't sending a probe out at all, so this actually could end up working out for Dark quite well. I'm not sure where you go with it. The most obvious choice is something like a Rochal. But if it goes completely unscouted, you could probably just use it like a normal macro base. Just the gold minerals, you return 7 at a time instead of 5. So 40% more income. Usually you don't have as many mineral patches, like 6 mineral patches. So effectively you have the same level of mining if the base is fully saturated. In this case, 12 grounds. Technically up to 18, but 12 grounds. Just with less workers, which obviously can be very helpful. So, Dark, unscouted, smoothly, now mining from the gold. With absolutely no knowledge of it from MaxPax. The question is how quickly he'll figure it out with the adept. Will he scout for it right off the bat? I haven't seen anyone else do this on this map. Obviously, the gold base eventually gets taken, but not as the first expansion. It's a bold move. We'll see if it works out for him. Adept working its way across. And he's only going to see the expand. He's checking for the third. Wow. You figured that out quick. Huh. MaxPax, I think either that or he saw something come down, but either way, figures it out almost immediately. Not that he can do anything about it. Forced to shade away. Few Zerglings in production. The Queen's gathering. And the Oracle. Wow, that is just disrespectful. Just slides right through. The typical kill 2 drones, take damage into the orange move. Absolute classic. Zerglings nibbling on the third Nexus down the center. Not going to be able to cancel it. Well, a few more Zerglings come in. But the Oracle comes back and makes sure that nothing untoward is happening. +1 melee attack is the choice from Dark. So already indicating a trend towards that Zergling aggression. Coming around, just gets the surround on the Adept. Another Oracle comes back. But he gets the Adept, which is, you know, it's something. Queens. Slap away the Oracle at the natural. Twilight and Forge on the way at the back, whereas Dark is really embracing this mass expansion style. Layers on the way. And I think this is the first time +1 melee was the choice right off the bat. As +1 melee doesn't transition as well into the Hydra route, but obviously Zerglings are a great way to keep map control if you can do so. Thing is, MaxPax is so good with Stalkers and Oracles, neither of which is explicitly amazing against Zerglings, unless you have that level of control. He makes it look impossible to move off the creep once he gets even a slight edge. And, well, is also actively looking to control the creep in general. But gets a little too close and get off! Finally, one of the Oracles strays a little bit too close and is punished for it. Hydra Den on the way. Wow, a 5th and a 6th base in production. Baneling Nest as well. Meanwhile, Moracle is being built. MaxPax has a number. He wants at least 2 of them at all times. Gonna go for the Blink Stalker aggression. But here we go. A classical MaxPax timing. He's gonna use the squares as well, which are like mini force fields against Zerglings. In fact, Zerglings possibly the worst on this map because of the neon violet squares. We'll see how it works out. He's got some stasis inside of him. The Zerglings looking for the surround, but you can already see how hard it is for them to actually find an angle. Yeah, the mini force fields. The Queen slows it in, but MaxPax, he found all the right angles, and it's impossible not to as the Queens are brawling it out. Also getting caught. Stalkers blink forward. Oracle's behind. Still just exchanging fire in the squares. Groove Spawn's about to complete. Now coming off of them. The Concave will be good for the Zerg, but another stasis catches the Zerglings on the flank. Gets a wraparound yet again. But again, the Stalkers blink back into the squares. The Hydras are coming out, finally adding a little bit of extra range damage. Another round of Stalkers warping in. More Hydras. The upgrades completed on both sides. They both have +1 attack. And that'll be the end of it for now. But Dark is winding up for another surround. And MaxPax unable to really make any progress past the squares themselves. Stasis catches a bunch of the Zerglings. Hydras slowly slithering forward, no speed yet. And that allows the Stalkers to retreat further. Some Zealots warped in. MaxPax has not built a probe in quite a bit. Until this moment, actually. I think he's starting to realize that the Stalkers are not going to be enough. The Zealots are not going to be enough. He needs a higher level of tech. But will he be able to get there? Huge stasis catches another chunk of Zerglings as we continue brawling it out, filtering through the squid. Nope, let me. You know what? If I stand very. Protoss vision is based on movement. Oh no! Well, the Hydras, Lings, and Banes coming in for another round, and the Lings coming unfrozen at a very inopportune time. MaxPax's gonna be forced back yet again. A few Zealots try to sneak by. Will get caught by the Lings and the Queens. The Hydras, Lings, and Banes continuing to counter across the map, and Bane speed is now completed. He's just now realizing about the Proxy, I think. We'll be able to take out those pylons powering the gateway. Dark 69 drones, which is very nice considering the gold base he has established has a significant income lead. Though MaxPax just finished his gold as a Hydra uses its melee attack to take down a Zealot. Use the same attack, just different animation. Hydras and Lings closing in again, but the critical mass of Blink Stalkers still helping out. Banelings zoning. just trying to use all the HP before they finally go down, and a huge swell of Zerglings is coming across the map. Stasis catches just one. That's not nearly enough as the Hydras and Lings continue to close in. The Oracle's drained of energy. The Zerglings like a tide drowning the Stalkers. And what is there left? He's warping in another round of Stalkers, but there's no splash damage to turn this around. The Hydras, Lings, and Banes are overrunning the base. The Banelings are coming in. Don't actually get a huge connection. 14 probes dead, though. The Zealots on the other... Oh, my God, what is happening there? Oh, a deadly dance. But overall, Dark has broken through. And now he's breaking into the buildings. Zerglings, Hydras, and Lings. Nope, those are the same thing twice. And it feels like there's twice as many. 25 probes. MaxPax still fighting it out, but the Oracle taken down. The Zealot counterattacks are not enough. And Dark strikes back. Well, clearly leveraging that huge economy, MaxPax not really finding any progress. And the downside of not scouting, I know this is going to come as a profound shock, but the downside of not scouting is you don't get information as quickly. So, I'll take this time as we load up game number 4 to ask you to scout that like button. And maybe even subscribe. Thank you for watching. 2-1. Dark's on the board. Technical difficulties, hopefully not affecting. Well, the players can't see it. Only if they have detection for the observers, which this early would be surprising. Ah, yes, the arguments of the past. But we do it live from replay. All right, El Dorado will be game 4. And we have returned. El Dorado. After Dark, able to overrun MaxPax's more conventional timing. He just takes the gold. This map, technically you can take a gold early as well. It just takes a lot more effort. Not surprised to see. You'd have to either mine through the minerals. Well, there's a mineral wall on either side of things. So it makes it very difficult to even consider taking that gold base early on. Overlord will be able to scout early as well. Just generally, everyone will have the information, at least a significant amount of it, much earlier than usual because of how close the air distance is between the bases. But also, once the Overlord and the probe get driven out, there's a lot more opportunity to go for more creative strategies, whether it's things like mutas or mass Stargate, or directly avoiding those things. Because they're such an obvious choice as a sneaky move. The old cheese, anti-cheese cheese. Probe grabs a mineral. Wait, did it get it from the mineral wall in the center? I don't believe so, which means there's no easy access to the watchtower there. The Zerglings just kind of waltz in. No one there to stop them, so Adept comes out, gonna drag it away. The side effect here is keeping the Adept busy at home as well. It will go to chase down, wrangle the second Zergling in the main base. Knock it out. But generally delaying the Adepts coming across the map opens up some space for a few more drones. A Void Ray is the first choice. Couple queens. Void Ray. Now, is the Void Ray just there to drive out the Overlords, or be part of a more dramatic build? We've seen both lately, with Void Rays still being enough to burn their way through the queens and potentially get damage done. Also forcing a overly dramatic anti-air response, when usually you want to be building up your economy. Overlord getting... not even lighting it up. Don't even see it. Off-screen death. It's like it never happened. Though Dark is supply blocked, but has 5 Overlords on the way, so taking it very seriously. Zergling. Get a wrap around on the Adept. Now, this is a big downside of going for the Void Ray, is while you get the Overlords, you don't have that, well, you don't have that Oracle to defend, he said with confidence, as the Oracle defended. But Zerglings come back around, but a couple of Adepts warped in, more than enough to deal with it. The Queens. Softening up the Void Ray. Oracle comes into the third where a lair is building. Awkwardly as well. I think Dark truly doesn't care where he builds his buildings. He just gets them as soon and as quick as possible, which is the same thing, but we'll just say it with confidence. Pretend I'm not just padding the commentary there. Adept Glaives on the way. The old 50 Shades with Glaives for MaxPax. He's already got 4 gates completed, and he's snuck them in the back corner of his natural, where they're least likely to be spotted early on, as well as continuing to drive the creep spread back. This could be a devastating, potentially game-ending attack outright. If he gets the... well, the Queen's not quite enough range to kill off that Oracle, which would have been a massive help. Anything that allows him to more reliably creep spread, as well as keeps the Queens where they need to be, as opposed to dragged out of position, is a huge deal. So, there's already 11 Adepts. Not a massive swell, but enough to be of grave concern. The Zerglings starting things off. Glaive's now done, though, of glaive concern. Adepts into the natural. MaxPax is already ahead on workers, and it's only getting more dramatic. Dark, woefully underprepared for this. The Roach is just now coming out. He's already lost a dozen drones. Ye old glaved Adepts. It's an old build, but it certainly still checks out. And behind it, Blink, Robo. Dark's best chance is going to be an overwhelming counterattack. The downside here is that the Adepts came through the center. Dark has no easy path to MaxPax's base. He can't just walk through. He doesn't have, he can't take down the mineral wall. He just ate the damage, and now he's just behind. He just got punched in the face. He's like, ow, that hurt. And that's it. And that's the extent of it. That's certainly not ideal. Not exactly sure from here. If Dark is unable to get... I think it has to be Swarm Host, right? He's getting an infestation, but he does not have the economy to go Hive. That would be madness to try to go Hive now. Sir Richard and his band of Swarm Host brethren. He doesn't even have road speed done. He's just straight up not having a good time. And it's not a good time to not have a good time at game 4, down 2-1. 5 Swarm Hosts in production. He's a bit supply blocked. He can't build anymore. Sir Richard is called in, but will it be too little and too late? Even with Swarm Hosts on the way, the supply count is only marginally in favor of Dark, and he has some of the least supply efficient units in the game. Nidus. MaxPax already has his 4th base most of the way done. A few adepts warped in as well. He really doesn't want to have to use the Swarm Host defensively. Because 1, that gives it away. 2, they're just simply not very good against this unit composition. You can't force the Blinkstalkers to stay and fight. So MaxPax, after a bit of a hiccup, still in pole position. A wave of locusts pops out, but the adepts in the main will slaughter more drones that Dark certainly cannot afford to lose. The queens. Finally! The adepts at the natural. More drones killed. Swarm host popping into the Nidus network. The Nidus is taken out. Dark, now up 30 supply. He's at 50 drones. It's all in army. He needs to use those swarm hosts as soon as possible. He can't be wasting time off cooldown. But he's just popping them up. He's just gonna walk across. The roaches are dueling with the blink stalkers. Pops a few locusts, but Ricky! No! Quite squishy on their own. Forced to pop the locust in the center. The roaches, sliced in half by the stasis, will get picked apart by the stalkers. MaxPax trying to minimize losses. Actually loses a few more than he probably should have. But gonna brawl with the rest. +2 missile attacks. Now completed for Dark. As he continues to try to get the damage done. But he's gonna lose his 4th base to a MaxPax who's already comfortably on 4. Another stasis. Their Templar, he does have Storm, because of course he does. Another wave attempted. The Queens. But who's the Zerg now? As MaxPax keeps Dark contained on both sides and is just chewing him apart in a war of attrition. The Swarm hosts don't know where to run. A blink catches another set. The roaches will be cut down. The Void Ray is burning through, and it's all falling apart. Dark has been decisively dismantled by the best Protoss player out there. Sure, he might go back and forth with Hero, but MaxPax is just a cut above. It seems GG is Dark's final statement, knowing how comprehensively he's been beaten. So showing some respect there in a probably frustrated manner, as MaxPax made it look almost impossible. But MaxPax takes it 3-1. A decisive victory over one of the best Zergs out there. Showing again that playing all these games against Cero makes everything else feel like taking the weights off. So, I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you Protoss players out there learned something. Though hopefully not too much. We already have too many Protoss in the tournament. Except for in the finals, of course. But I digress. Thank you for watching. I hope I made your day just a little bit better. If you got the means and motivation, be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership. Thank you to our Mule Tier patrons for bringing in the extra minerals. Big Jiggy Door, K, Mario, N. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free, at least for now. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Oh yeah, make sure to check out the second channel. We've got some new stuff there, like Civ 7. Pretty good, not great. Beyond All Reason is back on the menu. And just generally streaming and stuff like that. So Winter Gaming TV for that. It's in the description. Or you can just type it in the search. Anyways, good luck, have fun. I'll see you next time. Stay chill.